Allow me to show you the power of Super Saiyan 4!
Yo, what's up guys, Dragonball here with another Dragon Ball Legends video, and today we're gonna do another TPT Top 10 tier list, this time with the new King Goku here, as well as Jiren, who got his equipment, and I didn't make a tier list with him yet, so yeah. But before we start, the disclaimer, as always, I don't own every single unit here on this list. Some units are, for example, more in the 5 to 8 star range, more in the 8, some units in 8 to 10 stars. For Ultras and Legend, which goes the other newest characters, more 5. In my case, I own them 5 stars or 8 stars if I own them. And the other units like LF characters are more so in the 14 stars area or 10 stars area, depending how long they have been out. So just so you know that, so you guys understand if I own a unit at which star experience I have. But yeah, with that out of the way, we're gonna start with the top 10 here. At number 10 being Blue Kaioken Goku, who is very good against Broly, I have to say. And we're moving to number 9, which is Purple Cell here. I'm just kidding. Okay, I have to do a retalk about this one. Here's the thing with him. Kid-wise, if you look at him, he looks fine. His damage is 350 and damage cut is 320. The reason I want to point this out, because if you look at, for example, at this character, Gohan and Trunks, 310% damage cut, 360 damage. He's stacking 50% damage with every card he uses if he has 25% or more gauge. And every time he uses a card, he's depleting 25%. So in theory, he should be looking fine, but practically speaking, for some reason, and I cannot tell you why, I don't own the unit, thank God, because I don't care about this unit. But for some weird reason, he's not performing well. Like, I face this character, and I have to say, other units do more damage, other units are tanking better. For some odd reason, I don't know what it is, but for some odd reason, he's not tanking as well as he should. Because he has modern stats. I think even at full unique gauge, he gets extra damage guard. Isn't that the case? Like, yeah, when unique gauge becomes full, he gets damage guard for 20 timer counts, which is pretty easy for him to refill. So at peak, he's at 340% damage guard, and he should be tanking pretty well, but for some reason, he kinda doesn't. And I cannot explain to you what it is, but for some reason, it's not performing as well. Maybe he's bugged. That's the theory I think most people have, and I would hope so, because for some reason he's just underperforming. And because he's underperforming, I can't put him higher than 10. I think other characters are just better. I don't think he impacted the game in any shape or form, and his role is basically just countering Broly with his anti-gauge thing, which sounds good, but he doesn't do it the best. Because if you're gonna ask me who's the best at dealing with Broly, I think it's Gohan and Trunks. Because here's the thing with Gohan and Trunks: their blue card actually can kill Broly, sometimes very quickly. That's one thing. They are very good against his gauge, because if they pop his gauge, they're gonna cancel all his attribute upgrades, which means his blue card is gonna do almost 0 damage. I think and the thing is, getting rid of the gauges, like here's the thing, he's gonna come in and ignore his gauge, gonna combo him, great, but the gauge is still there. So unless you want to have this character on Broly every single time, which is sometimes not possible. Sometimes he will come in a cover change, lock you in, and then what? You're not gonna pop the gauge? You understand what I mean? So I think having a character that just pops the gauge and basically doesn't have to deal with it because it does almost no damage, so it's basically popping the gauge for free, which makes Broly easier to hit afterwards for your other units, is better than what this character sadly does. Because I think at the end of the day, Broly's gauge is not to the point where you need to have this unit to ignore it to deal with Broly. Obviously, he will gain value from stopping combos, that's obvious. But I don't think Blue Kaioken is the best stopper to Broly. And the next thing, this does not have to do with his placement, but more so to do with the character. Why is this a legend? Blue Kaioken from the Jiren fight. To remind everybody who doesn't remember the fight, Goku went Blue Kaioken and got bodied in like 20 seconds. 30 if we're gonna be generous. He didn't land a solid punch. He did nothing. He just got bodied. No competition for Jiren at all. And then he launched the Spirit Bomb. That's what Blue Kaioken did for the whole fight. That's everything. So him being another Blue Kaioken, like the Ultra version, that from the Jiren fight, which he didn't do anything worthy of being a legend or an Ultra to begin with, and then not having the Spirit Bomb it's a complete waste of a unit. This right here, there are two things they could have done, which I think everybody wouldn't complain about that. Number one, you make him from the Hit versus Goku fight, because that's where Blue Kaioken Goku actually mattered, because he actually did something there. He lost the fight, but at the end of the day, he actually did something. He had a moment that is LF worthy. He actually made Hit sweat. Hit almost lost the fight because of this, so there's that. Or option number two, which this Goku, if they had to do it, if they had to make this the Jiren version fight, why not give him the Spirit Bomb? I don't understand why they're not doing this. It's at an LF worthy moment. It would make this character justified to be a legend character, because right now I think no one is satisfied with this unit. Not just performance wise, because it's just a bummer to have this character who didn't do anything. We're talking about GT Super Saiyan 3 and Diamond Super Saiyan 3 Goku level of nothing that this character is, because they all came in and got bodied and really didn't do much. So yeah, this is a bummer. I don't know why they did that, and I hope, if anything, that they fix this character, because this character should be better. Because at the end of the day, it's not saving Universe Rep, which is the whole campaign, by the way. So yeah, long talk about this Goku, but it needs to be done because this character is new and it's very important because he is a premium unit. So yeah, moving to number 9, I think this character people won't necessarily agree on, but I have my reasons, and that's Purple Cell. Purple Cell, a team I've been running, I think this is his only team by the way, and the main reason he's even on the list is this team. I even make a PvP video about this if you want to look at my channel to check it out. Feel free to do it. On that team I have him like triple Zenkai buff, his own Zenkai buff, Purple 21 as a Zenkai bench which gives HP, and then Purple Jiren as a last Zenkai buff for him. And yeah, sometimes he's just actually very good at dealing with everybody he's not yellow, because a yellow character will wall him off. But that's also the same with this Goku, by the way. Yellow's characters, like these two, are walling him off completely. But yeah, speaking about Cell, I think one of the few nice things he has is the fact that if he fills his unique gauge, he's deleting all attribute downgrades, which is very good because that's the most common thing right now in the game as a disrupt. They give cost increase. I think after the third time they get hit, it switch out. Cost increase, cost increase, cost increase, cost increase. So a lot of cost increase. Minus card draw speed. I think them also cost increase. Cost increase and minus card draw speed. So there are a lot of cost increase, minus card draw speed stuff going on. So him having the ability to delete that for unique gauge is very good. He's triple Zenkai buffed, so he do very good damage. He's a purple, so he's very good against Broly. And also the MVP duo if you're facing them, or Shalette sometimes if you're facing them. His main ability is very useful because he gives you immunity to card destruction. This is very good because you're fighting, for example, if you're fighting the Budo, you get into a point where they're at half HP and you pop the main and then trigger their half HP disrupt. You won't lose any cards, so you can keep going with the combo. If they're in a prep mode, you can pop the main and then trigger, their unique gauge. Your cards won't get destroyed. And for unique gauge, he also gets vanish back. So by getting vanish back, you can completely ignore their prep mode disrupt entirely, which is pretty good. Sometimes he has the way to have like double or triple card draw speed, which means long combos, very good damage, him having the ability to refill his gauge over and over. If you have a green card, drop combo green card can help you to reset combo to compensation, to keep on going, doing more damage, very good. Also, the card destruction immunity is not only good against them, but also good at Gohan Trunks, or Gogeta Blue, or even this Yellow Goku Black with the card destruction, so that's very nice. And the green card is not only good to sometimes get priority or drop comboing, it's also good to make your enemy, you know, think about, okay, he's drop comboing. Is he drop comboing to use a strike, or is he drop comboing to use a green? Because if you, this is kind of a coin flip situation. If this character turns out to go for a strike and you want to tap him out, he gets priority on you. However, if he's not going for a strike and you think, like, okay, you think he's going for a strike, you're going to vanish, and he pops the green card, he resets combo. So there are very good things with this cell, on top of, again, every green card being good to get priority. He getting vanish back can be helpful sometimes against, for example, Vegito Blue, because he's removing your vanish. So there's a lot of nice stuff going on with this team specifically for Purple Cell, so that's why I consider him at the number 9. He is squishy, that's one of the weaknesses he definitely has. And also his death AoE can sometimes help you to kill a unit that you usually won't get the opportunity to hit. For example, these 3 units, because they all don't have a second life mechanic. So yeah, long talk about Cell, I think that needs to be explained, because he's one of the characters I think many people wouldn't necessarily consider in the top 10, but I think the stuff that he can provide on his team that he's on, which is his only team, is pretty good. He's definitely better, probably in my opinion, than Blue Cow can. So yeah, moving to number 8 here now that we've talked about Purple Cell, and that's Yellow Jiren. I think he's good. I think his disrupt and defensive ability sometimes be very nice, but I think he should have been a bit better and focused around defense, because at the end of the day, he's the defensive unit of the Universe Rep team. And he feels more of a damage dealer than a defense unit right now. He doesn't have a second life mechanic, so that's also a minus thing for a defense type. But the bigger issue is outside of Universe Rep, there's no reason to run him, because if you look at teams outside of Universe Rep that he's on, which is simply powerful opponent, you have Yellow Goku Black, and if you compare these two, Yellow Goku Black not only is a better defense type unit because he's tanking better, he has a second life mechanic, buff removal, all these kind of things, but also he has better attacks. He has the Saiyan tag, he has the God Key tag, he has the Future tag, so he has better access to better teams, access to more and better Zenkai buffs that Jiren doesn't have. So at the end of the day, Yellow Goku Black is just a better version of him. He does good damage again, he has a good, sometimes a disrupting because of cost increase, which is very good. I think him and together with the MVP duo is a good way to like switch him out and then switch him back in. It goes very fast. On top of sub-count reduction against blue cards, to switch this guy in to protect your other units is also pretty good. So when it comes to him performing, I think he's good, but I think he should have been, again, focusing around his actual role, which is being a defense type rather than his offense. His offense is great, but it's not necessarily what we asked for. But I kinda have to say, considering that this character's damage isn't what it should be, I'm kinda glad he does the damage that he does. Which is, it's a random thing to say, but that's the situation they created. So yeah, Jiren up number 8, I think he's fine. Like, not bad, he's very good. But I have no idea how long that's gonna last, so yeah, we will see. Number 7, I have Gohan and Trunks. I don't think anything changes with their placement. I had them level 7 last time. Good damage still. I think the team with this trio, they get even more damage with the MVP duo. Good combination of these two. They have good synergy because of the low area and high area legends action. Again, best answer to Broly. They have red color if you're fighting yellow Goku Black or Jiren. Can do very good damage, farm Dragon Balls very quickly thanks to your unique gauge. The Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball destruction, the rush ceiling on hit can be sometimes very useful. The card destruction is very good to annoy this unit if you're fighting him, because he's gonna come in, use cards, they're gonna destroy cards mid combo, so he won't perform as he wants to, so that can be useful. But they still have the weakness, for example, of UVB doing insane damage to them. Stardust Fall can kill them if you're not careful, and the Spirit Bomb especially. If it's gonna catch you in the red side with no type neutrality, you could be done for. So that's still a weakness. I'm not gonna put them any higher, although I thought about them putting it at number 6 actually. But I'm gonna keep it at number 7. I think they're still very good. Still a very meta relevant character. Not as good as on release, but honestly, that's fine. I hope they get another character to buff them, to make them more useful outside of this team that I just mentioned. But for now, that's their team. They're very good. Moving on now to number 6, and that's Yellow Goku Black. Yeah, Yellow Goku Black, also very good character still. One of the best defense set in the game, if not the best defensive character when it comes to tanking hits. I think he's the best. I think Broly's the best disruptive tanking character, but he is the best when it comes to just tanking. Having endurance, buff cancellation on standby for blue cards, buff cancellation against big moves on him, healing consistently on hits, the disrupt from his unique gauge, giving team wide cover no. So there's a lot of very good things about Yellow Goku Black that, yeah, are still good to this day. Very good team if you want to run these two with Android 17, or then double Yellow setup with the MVP duo. So team wise, very good. Color is nice against the purples, although I'm not that often seen. I think he's doing a very good job overall. Wouldn't put him higher, but he's doing a great job. So I'm not gonna spend a lot of time talking about him, because he's been out for a while doing the same things that he always has been doing. So gonna move on to number 5, who is Red Gogeta still. If anything, he got worse because of the being out of the boost system, but I wouldn't say it's enough to really put him a spot lower. This character does not help him in any shape or form, so he's not gonna move up in any shape or form, so he's gonna stay here. He has a Stardust Fall, which is pretty nice. He has his damage, which is generally speaking very good, but there's nothing I see in him to put him over the other 4 units that are gonna come next to him. And it doesn't help that Vegeta Blue, outside of the double red setups, is taking all his teams, which is unfortunate, but that's what they did with giving this guy his equipment. So yeah, I'm gonna move into number 4 because there's not much to say. And I think this is a character where you could put him higher. I decided to put him there because I think the impact on him is different, and that's Green Broly. Now, I didn't put it at number 4 because I think this character is such a big deal to him. He is a deal to him, but not a big deal to him in my opinion. But again, that's a minus point, being another purple here. But I think the boost system for him is a bigger issue than for Gogeta. Because here's the thing with Broly. Broly is a defense type with a defensive gauge. What does this mean? Him losing defense on the boost means he will take more hits to fill his gauge. Like, he needs the same amount of hits, but he will take a lot more damage until he fulfills his gauge. That's the problem. And this means sometimes there are opportunities where you can get, for example, his first life gone before he fills his gauge. There will be moments where he can get killed easier because he doesn't have the access to a full gauge yet, because he takes more damage. And especially Gohan and Trunks, who have a very strong blue card against this guy, him having less defense, gives them more opportunities to kill Broly. And since he's the only character in the top 5 besides him, besides Gogeta, that gets affected by this, on top of having another purple, which wasn't there before, I think that puts him to number 4. Now I think you could technically, again, for the things that he does, which is sealing mains, sealing rushes, destroying Dragon Balls, stopping combos. You could still put him like a number 3 in, or maybe even number 2 in theory. But I think other units deserve the number 2 and number 3 spot more. And especially number 1, obviously. So there's that, but I don't think he's bad in any shape or form now because of being off boost. But I'm putting him down because of it. So yeah, Brody, number 4, still very great. Moving to number 3, I have the Boo Duo. Nothing really changed with them. They're still very good. I don't really need to talk about them much because I mean, there are only 2 units that could be higher than him. One of them being obvious, and the next one I'm gonna talk about more why I have them at number 2. But they're still doing good damage. Sometimes getting their Spirit Bomb can be a bit difficult because some units do too much damage. I think they are one of the biggest issues to them because they can tank the Spirit Bomb, but if they get their type neutrality by using cards, they can kill basically anybody with the Spirit Bomb. So especially with MVP dual support, they're doing way more damage with the Spirit Bomb, surviving better, nothing else to say. They're still very good. I just think the other 2 units are better, with the number 2 being their best partner, the MVP duo. The reason why I have them number 2 is simply because I think they are a universal support on every single best team in the game that I can think of. If you think about the double red setup, they are there. If you're not running Broly, they are on the team. If you're running, for example, these 2 together, they are the number 3 unit. You're gonna run there. If you're running these 2 together, they are there. If you're gonna run these 2 together, they are there. If you're running these 2 together, they're also there. So they are on every single team, providing your support, disruption, safety, have very good colors with green and blue because they are very good against the Boo Duo when it comes to surviving the Spirit Bomb, but also because their blue card on full unique gauge takes away buffs, including type neutral defense, so they can help you kill this unit sometimes easier. They're also being blue means they can tank better against UVB, or against Gohan and Trunks, or against Gogeta Blue, also having access to buff removal on their blue against these units, so that's still very good. Good synergy with, for example, Gohan and Trunks when it comes to the high and low area Legends action. Again, very good support, core on most teams, so I think they deserve the number 2 spot because of this. And surprisingly, even though Universe Rep is their worst team, they're so good at what they're doing that they, in my opinion, deserve to be number 2. So yeah, and then number 1, UVB. Not gonna change for me. If anything, because of Broly getting worse, he gets better because Broly is the best answer to him, which is why I don't get why people want Broly out of the meta, because I understand Broly green unique gauge is annoying to deal with. I get the problem, I get that. But I would rather have this character being there to stop UVB than him not being there, because if he is not there, who's stopping this guy? Who is stopping his rampage? Name me one unit. But here's the one thing I found out with this character specifically, which originally I thought, okay, minus 100 ki is gonna do it, he's gonna stop UVB. Not always, because here's the problem with this. UVB gets ki the moment you switch out to another unit. So we always have bare minimum enough to use like 1 card. Sometimes even 2, depending on who you have to switch it to. And I think them together are way better at stopping combos than if he's by himself. For example, against the Boo Duo, you switch out, they getting ki. And what's worse is if they get the switch gauge, they get more ki. And so the disrupt sometimes on some units, like again these 2 and UGB as well, doesn't work. So yeah, I don't think UVB gets stopped if you're hurting this character. Still very annoying, still surprisingly very tanky, taking the places of the red characters that shouldn't get replaced. and still is this strong as he was before. So I'm gonna keep him as the number 1 in the game. Yeah. Moving to the 3 units here that didn't make the list. Charlotte, you're getting hard replaced by these characters on your own team. Your best gimmick gets ignored because of these guys who are almost every team. And they are tankier than you, and they fulfill the same role of supporting. So you're not making a list. Le Rosé, he is a pre-any character. Is there much I need to say about him? It's really just that, he's a pre-any character. You notice this in his tanking and his damage, and unfortunately his gimmicks, which are still very good, are not good enough to keep him in the top 10. It's the reality, because at the end of the day, you have better blue units that you can run instead of him. You have other units that do more damage instead of him, and other units that can deal better with the mechanics in the game than him, unfortunately. So he's not making a list, but he had a very good run. And then Red Turbo, I never saw this character in any game yet, so I cannot give you anything based on experience. But I think just from reading him, he looks good. Problem is, he's a red character. When it comes to God Key, he's not touching their spot, and especially not him. I would even make the argument that most setups you could run him, you could technically run Vegeta Blue there, so that's that. But also, his biggest gimmick being the anti-revival doesn't help, because there's no anti-revival unit except this unit, who's blue and has a lot of healing going on, especially with 17 and Golden Frieza. So I don't see it in the top 10, but I think he's one of the better 1% sparkings that we have. So yeah, there's that. This is my top 10. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.